What is going on, guys? Welcome to this video. My name is Cameron and this is the video covering the entire comic book collection for my Ultimate Spider-Man comics. And for any of you guys that have been following my YouTube channel for quite a while, you will know that I have every single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man in my comic book collection, going from issue 1 all the way up to issue 160 and beyond. So yeah, that's including the Miles Morales comics and some rare variants as well. So without any further ado, as you can see in the background, I've got a Spider-Man poster, some stuff there, and then if we turn around, we've got a giant Hulk statue and stuff like that. So yeah, I am quite a comic book enthusiast, and well, let's just get into the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Let's go. Okay, so as we come down here, we take the box off this Ultimate Spider-Man collection, and here we've got the Ultimate Spider-Man issue 160 comic book sleeve. So yeah, that's just got like a bunch of papers in it. It doesn't really matter about them now. But yeah, so just to clarify as well, all of these comics are in Mylar comic book sleeves, and what I mean by that, I think they're like the most expensive and the most protective comic book sleeves for comic books. Like, if you can tell, like, I'm going to lift this up, this is issue 1, you see how shiny that is? Like, where's the other one? I've got like an issue 2 here, one second. I've got multiple issue 2, so this is like a regular comic book sleeve, and it's like you can see that it's a bit more matted, whereas when you pick up like a Mylar one, it's like super shiny. So this is going to be a problem. The light is just... Let me change this lighting because it's horrendous. Okay, so I've changed it a little bit for you guys, so hopefully that works out. Here is my foot. But yeah, so let's get into it. This is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1. All of these are first prints as well, guys. So Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1. I remember when I actually first got these comics, it was so good. But one thing that's really strange as well, just want to talk about, is that all of these comics, because I think this issue 1 came out in like 1999 to the year 2000, and the comics actually have like card covers. Like, so you know the front cover of the comics, they all have like thick card covers, like not regular paper, they're like card, and then as you get through the series, they become like more comic booky paper kind of covers. It's really weird. So you kind of get like the generation of comic books going through like how they've been made through this series, so it's really cool. So anyway, going on to it, obviously Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1, we've already shown you that. Then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2, this is the Vine variant, so there's that. And then when we go to this one, this is another issue 2, this is the original issue 2 comic book cover. And yeah, so this is the variant, and then this is like the original cover, and then I also have a second issue 2 just there. So yeah, really cool, I actually really like that cover. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 3, just zoom out a bit so you can see that a bit better. I absolutely love these covers. Fun fact actually, when this comic came out, people didn't actually like the CGI computery look of like the front covers. They thought it looked tacky and everything like that. And then obviously as the series went on, people actually grew to like it. Here's Ultimate Spider-Man issue 4, and one of the best things is that they actually chapter them. So here we have the With Great Power. Obviously, what's really funny as well, and that's like a little bit of a fun fact, is that Amazing Fantasy 15, the one that's actually up on the wall there, which is the comic cover, the original comic that announces Spider-Man, that is like the reveal that Spider-Man exists. I've got something on the lens, what the heck? So yeah, as I was saying, Amazing Fantasy 15, which is like the very first issue of Spider-Man, in that comic, it actually covered his origin story and him becoming Spider-Man and Uncle Ben dying, all within that issue. Whereas these Ultimate Spider-Man comics take at least 6 issues for Uncle Ben to die. So yeah, here's Ultimate Spider-Man issue 5, this is Life Lessons. So one of the best things about this is that you actually learn to care for Uncle Ben through the sake of 5 issues, and these comics release monthly. So this was like 5 months of just learning about Uncle Ben, like Peter Parker and that. And then in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 6, I believe this is the issue where Uncle Ben died. Or was it issue 4? It might have been issue 4, because I'm a little bit like, I'll have to redo that. But yeah, so Ultimate Spider-Man issue 6, and as you can see, I have the comic signed by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley, so the writer and the artist of the Ultimate Spider-Man series. And if we turn it over, I have a certificate of authenticity with that as well. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 7, this is obviously where the Green Goblin and all that crazy stuff goes down, and in that issue as well with issue 6. So yeah, and then Ultimate Spider-Man issue 8, Working Stiff. You see, I just love how it has like chapters. It makes it feel like the comic is so personal to Peter Parker and Spider-Man, because the Ultimate Spider-Man comics do a really good job of just walking you through Peter Parker's struggle with school and girls and stuff like that. Meet the Enforcers. Obviously the Enforcers working for Kingpin and that, with Ox, Fancy Dan. Who's the other guy? I can't remember the other person. Obviously, I'll figure it out after this video, but the worst thing, this is issue 10. You see how the comic covers are kind of like evolving a little bit. It's really cool. There's issue 12 with Electro. I think, if I remember, this is the issue where Spider-Man breaks into Kingpin's place and Electro just fries Spider-Man the moment he walks in. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then Ultimate Spider-Man, my favourite issue of pretty much most of the entire Ultimate Spider-Man series. This is the issue where Peter Parker reveals his identity to Mary Jane, that he is Spider-Man. And the front cover is just awesome. We've got Confessions there as the chapter title. And so one of the reasons why this is my favourite issue is because the entire issue takes place in Peter Parker's bedroom. Like, there is no Spider-Man at all or anything like that. It is literally just Peter Parker and Mary Jane talking to each other the entire issue. And then, of course, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 14 with Dr. Octopus just there as well. And fun fact about this comic, actually, this comic cover actually appears on a variant for Ultimate Spider-Man issue 21. So even though this is the front cover for issue 14, there is a variant version of issue 21 that is like $400, and it's this cover on issue 21. So yeah, really weird. Here's issue 15, Confrontation. So yeah, it's still dealing with Dr. Octopus and all that crazy stuff. Issue 16, Kraven the Hunter. This is the one where Spider-Man fights Kraven the Hunter live on news. Issue 17, see, we got these awesome covers now, like where Spider-Man's being held up by Dr. Octopus. It's really cool. One second, give me a second, my arm is like hurting from lifting out all these covers. Right, Dr. Octopus there, the Cycle. Dr. Octopus, surprisingly, is a massive character in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, and he's actually one of the best characters just because he's so likable and you learn to love him. Like, you feel like a personal connection to him, like you actually know his character. That's why I love the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Issue 19. But, issue 20. Issue 21 with Kraven the Hunter. Now, as I've just said about issue 14, there is a Dr. Octopus variant cover for this comic, and it is like $400. It is crazy. So I don't really know why it's $400, like I don't know like what the point in that is, but yeah. So as you can see, Green Goblin is a massive character in the Ultimate Spider-Man series as well. Spider-Man actually has to deal with him quite a few times, and here he is again on issue 22. Issue 23, see, the comic book covers are just so good. Issue 24 with Green Goblin again. This is the Ultimatum, so I imagine if I can't remember obviously exactly every single issue, like what happens in it, but obviously I think this is where Green Goblin actually tosses Mary Jane off the top of the bridge maybe, or something like that. I can't remember. Oh no, it's this one. This is the one where Green Goblin chucks Mary Jane off the top of a bridge and it literally scars her for life. It's awful. Or is it this one? I don't know. Issue 26. Let me just scoot around here a little bit more. I trained shoulders at the gym yesterday, so to actually have to lift these comics up is hurting my shoulder a little bit. So we got issue 27. We got issue 28. We got issue 20. Come on. Issue 29. And what I like is that stolen identity. Like, the chapters just change all the time. It feels like the comics are actually leading someone's life. It's brilliant. Next. Oh, this is one of my favourite covers, actually. This is the cover where I think Spider-Man gets kidnapped in a black van or something along those lines. I can't quite remember, but I love this cover with Spider-Man's hands in handcuffs. It's brilliant. So, this is one of my favourite sagas in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. This is where someone actually dresses up as Spider-Man and starts robbing banks and stuff. And one of the major characters of the Ultimate Spider-Man universe does die due to this person, due to this character. So it's pretty crazy. And Spider-Man actually does go like legitimately mad at this person and nearly kills him. So yeah, that's really cool. And then we go into the Venom saga with issue 33. And one of the major things that made this Ultimate Spider-Man series so popular was how Venom was portrayed, how he was drawn, and the fact that the symbiote was like a science experiment, like it was something that was handed down to Eddie Brock and Peter Parker. So I think it's really confusing. It was something that Peter Parker's father was working on, and it was actually the symbiote, the Venom symbiote in the Ultimate Spider-Man series was designed to cure cancer. Like, it was a suit that would find what's wrong with you and it would cure you, and then obviously it became Venom. So yeah, the comic covers for Venom are just amazing. Look at that, that's when Ultimate Spider-Man gets the black suit for the first time, and it's inheritance. And by that, what actually happens is Peter Parker's father and Eddie Brock's father create the black suit for cancer, and then it gets handed down to them in inheritance to Peter Parker and Eddie Brock. So that's why this chapter is called Inheritance. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 35 with this amazing Venom cover. It's freaking awesome. This is the legacy. So technically, this is Peter Parker's father and Eddie Brock's father's legacy, and this is what it's coming down to. So yeah, absolutely love these comics. And then we've got this popular one that you see all over Google and everything like that. Issue 36 where Venom and Spider-Man fight each other. Oh my god, my back is killing me sat like this. It's okay. I'll keep going for the comics, but another Venom, look, just look at how amazing the Venom covers look on each one. They're just amazing. Look at that chapter as well. It's just called Still. Like, you see, they don't even need to chapter these. Like, they're just so thingy. But here's another famous comic cover as well. This is issue 38 with Father's Pride. Venom taking down Spider-Man. The art style is phenomenal on these Ultimate Spider-Man comics. It's truly amazing. Come on. Here we go. I think, if I remember, this is the issue where Spider-Man accidentally bumps into Doctor Strange or something. Next one. Yeah, then we've got Average Bear. I don't actually know what that chapter means. I can't remember. Issue 41. What is this? This is the letter. I can't actually remember this either, but the comic covers are still awesome. Issue 43. I think this is where Spider-Man actually does genuinely need help in this one. Right, the comics are actually trying to like fight back now. So if I actually let go, all the comics start falling back. So yeah, 43. Come on. It's getting a bit hard. 44. This is obviously where Spider-Man meets the X-Men for the first time. All the comics keep falling. 1 second, let me sort these out. So yeah, we have Ultimate Spider-Man issue 44 here, and one of the best things about this is that Spider-Man and the X-Men play a major role in these Ultimate Spider-Man series. So the X-Men are actually quite popular characters, especially the character of Kitty Pryde. She's in this Ultimate Spider-Man series quite a lot towards the issue 80 side of things. Let's keep going through. Issue 45, issue 40, come on, come out. Issue 46. Issue 47, issue 48, and then you can see that the chapter says suspended as it did on issue 47 as well. And this is pretty much around the time where Peter Parker starts having problems at school due to his Spider-Man-ness. Then we've got Kingpin there as well with Spider-Man returning to us. Kingpin is also a major character, and that's one of the best things. We've got issue 50 here with the entrance of Black Cat for the first time in the Ultimate Universe. But yeah, so one of the best things about this is that the enemies of Spider-Man, like the Kingpin and Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus and Kraven, you actually remember their characters very, very well. Like, you really do appreciate them and feel like you know their characters on a personal level. As you can see, compared to like the usual Spider-Man, like Amazing Spider-Man comics, Ultimate Spider-Man Black Cat is super hot, like in this series for some reason. I don't know why, but she is. Keep going. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 52. We've got Elektra sat there as well next to these guys, so that's awesome. And it's called Catfight, so I think that's pretty funny. Let's keep going. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 53. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 54 with Hollywood Part 1. This is one of my favourite sagas again, because in this saga, what actually happens is the Spider-Man 2 movie, or the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1 movie, is being made in real life. And because that Spider-Man movie is being made by Sam Raimi in real life, Sam Raimi is actually in this Ultimate Spider-Man comic making the Spider-Man movie, and then this, obviously, Peter Parker, the real Spider-Man, swings by and Sam Raimi films him and stuff. It's really cool. That's why it's called Hollywood, because Sam Raimi films Spider-Man and actually makes it into a movie in the comics. So yeah, that's really cool. Issue 55, we've got Dr. Octopus. As I've already said, he kidnaps Spider-Man and pretty much like nearly beats him to death. Like, Spider-Man loses a tooth and everything. It's crazy. Issue 56, Hollywood Part 3. I think this goes on for like 8 parts, you know, if I remember. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 57, Hollywood Part 4. I nearly said Part 6 then. Issue 58, Hollywood Part 5. Look at the art, man. That is so good. Let's keep going. Issue 59, Hollywood Part 6. Issue 60 with the entrance of Carnage Part 1. So that's issue 60. And look at the art style on that, man. It's so freaking cool. And then when we go into the next one, we've got Spider-Man fighting it. And one of the strange things about this is that Carnage is like a recreation of the Venom symbiote that went wrong. Because if you remember, the Venom symbiote, as I've already said, was created as an experiment. And so someone tries to recreate it and accidentally makes Carnage. Or it's something to do with the Carnage symbiote that has spawned from Venom. And it's something like, it's really confusing. But yeah, it escapes and kills people. So yeah. There we got an Ultimate Spider-Man issue 62, Carnage Part 3. Let's keep going. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 63, trying to help someone with Carnage Part 4. The art style and the artwork just makes you feel so emotional for these comics. It's unbelievable. Carnage Part 5, issue 64, issue 65, and look at that with Gwen Stacy on the front of it. So you can kind of guess what's happened, if you get what I mean. I mean, we just had Carnage, and then Gwen Stacy on the front, and Spider-Man's looking really depressed. So yeah, something does actually happen to Gwen Stacy during that Carnage saga. I'm not going to say what it was, but it is quite affecting to both the reader and Spider-Man. Here we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 66 with Even We Don't Believe This is the chapter name. So what I really like about that is that Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley actually kind of ran out of ideas for this sort of set of comics right here. So they literally just threw Wolverine and Spider-Man in it together and named the chapter that. So I thought that was really funny. And then when you go into the next one, we've got issue 67 with Spider-Man and Wolverine. And one of the best things about this is that, sorry my camera cut off there, but one of the best things about this issue is that Spider-Man and Wolverine actually switch bodies. Like, their brains literally switch. It's awesome. And then obviously we've got the entrance of the Fantastic Four with Johnny Storm. And this is actually really funny because Spider-Man met Johnny Storm in school, in high school, before he revealed his powers to the world. And now in this comic, this is when they've become the Fantastic Four and they're popular and that. So that is why the chapter says popular on it. If I remember correctly anyway. Going into Ultimate Spider-Man issue 69, this is Meet Me with him, Fantastic Four again. Pretty cool. Issue 70 where he meets the Ultimates. So for any of you guys that don't know, in the 616 comics and the Amazing Spider-Man comics, obviously the team of the Avengers are known as the Avengers, whereas the Avengers in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics and in the Ultimate Universe are known as the Ultimates. And to be honest, I think the Ultimates actually sounds better than the Avengers, but yeah, you know, there we've got Spider-Man stood with those guys there. It's pretty cool. Issue 71 where he's fighting everybody. This is Doctor Strange actually, where Strange, yeah, I actually think this is where he gets trapped with Doctor Strange and starts seeing all of his enemies. Hobgoblin, this is where the entrance of the Hobgoblin comes in with, I'm not going to say who, because it's a kind of a major spoiler, but yeah, Hobgoblin is in these comics. And then, I'm not going to say who that is on the front, but yeah, we've got Hobgoblin Part 2. Hobgoblin Part 3, that actually kind of looks like Venom's webs, but trust me, it's not, it's just for some reason like that. Issue 75, this is the 75th issue with Hobgoblin Part 4. It's pretty awesome. Then Hobgoblin Part 5, issue 76. Actually, let's have a look. Hobgoblin actually looks pretty cool. He's like an orange version of the Green Goblin. So yeah, Hobgoblin Part 6 with issue 77. And one thing that you've noticed as well, the Green Goblin and the Hobgoblin in the Ultimate Universe are literal like monsters, like Hulk monsters sort of thing. It's really, really cool instead of just gliding around and stuff. It's awesome. Issue 78 where it says chapter dumped. So as you can tell, one of these characters dumps the other character. I'm not going to say who, but it's really emotional, especially if you've been a reader of all 78 issues up to this point, and then like these two characters like break up. It's like, what the heck, man? It's crazy. Here we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 79, Warriors Part 1. Issue 80 with the entrance of Moon Knight with Warriors Part 2. Black Cat returning again in issue 82, Warriors Part... Wait a minute. I think I may have actually misplaced issue 81. Where's issue 81? Okay, I think I may have put Ultimate Spider-Man issue 81 in here, so we may have to see that in a different video, because I'm not going to go through those to find it, but... yeah, let's have a gander. As I was saying, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 82 with Black Cat. Then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 83 with Moon Knight there again. And then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 84 with Elektra and Black Cat in this, Warriors Part 6. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 85 with Iron Fist, and then obviously Iron Fist's like buddy right there. That is Warriors Part 7. It's quite a long chapter this. This actually has something to do with Hammerhead in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which is pretty cool. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 86 with, who is this? Silver Sable, and I can't remember who this red person is. I forget. And then we've got annual issue 1 now. One of the funny things about this is that I like to keep my comic books in order, so instead I could have just had all the annuals, say like annual issue 1, issue 2, issue 3 all in a line, but I like to have it sort of in continuity in a linear fashion sort of thing. So yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man annual issue 1 takes place between Ultimate Spider-Man issue 86 and 87. So yeah, this is actually a major issue. So if you have the Ultimate Spider-Man comic series, make sure you pick up Ultimate Spider-Man annual issue 1, because this actually features the part where Spider-Man actually gets into a relationship with Kitty Pryde from the X-Men, and she stays in these comics for quite a while. So if you start reading issue 87 and all of that, and Spider-Man's all of a sudden with Kitty Pryde, you'll be confused. So yeah, make sure you pick up this issue. Putting that down, going on to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 87 with Silver Sable again. Then Ultimate Spider-Man issue 88 with Silver Sable still. That's part 3. Issue 89, as you can see, the comic covers are very, very cool. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 90 with the entrance of the Vulture. This is Silver Sable part 5. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 91 with Deadpool part 1. So yes, Deadpool makes an entrance into these Ultimate Spider-Man comics. And one of the funny things about this is that Deadpool wasn't that famous of a character when these Ultimate Spider-Man comics were releasing. So yeah, that's why it took so long for him to be in these comics, because he wasn't such a popular character until obviously recently with the Deadpool movie in 2015 and 16 and all that crazy stuff. So this is Deadpool part 2, and as you can see, Spider-Man is involved with the X-Men. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 93 with the first cover of Deadpool being featured on the front of it. He looks amazing. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 94 with Deadpool part 4, and then let's go on to the next one, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 95, with the entrance of Morbius the Vampire. That's part 1. He looks badass in this. I can't actually remember what happens with him in this, so yeah, I don't remember him being in it for long though, so we'll have to see about that. But Ultimate Spider-Man issue 96, Morbius part 6. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 97, the Clone Saga part 1. And fun fact about this comic series, guys, the Clone Saga, in my opinion, is actually one of the best sagas in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. So the fact that the Clone Saga was messed up in the Amazing Spider-Man comics all those years ago, so I feel like it was done a little bit of justice in this Ultimate Spider-Man series when they redid it. Honestly, it was pure awesomeness. That's the second issue of Ultimate Spider-Man issue 97 right there. I've got 2 of them. And then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 98 with Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman there as well, Clone Saga part 2. And then we've also got a second version of that as well right there. And then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 99 with the Clone Saga part 3. I'm not going to tell you why she's on the front cover of that. It's a little bit of a surprise. But we've also got a second version of that as well. And then Ultimate Spider-Man, the Big 100. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 100, the Clone Saga part 4. That is a very special comic. As you can see, they probably really like that they made it to issue 100 in this Ultimate Spider-Man series. So putting that back down. And then we have a second version of that as well, which is fantastic. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 101 with the return of the Carnage symbiote. Issue 102. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 103 with obviously the Clone Saga, and then we've got like a clone of Spider-Man there, and then like look at that messed up Peter Parker right there, Jesus. So yeah, putting that back, and then moving on to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 104. This is my favourite Ultimate Spider-Man comic of all time, besides issue 13. And there is a reason for it. I'm not going to tell you why, but you find out something about Dr. Octopus, and you also find out something else as well, which is pretty cool. And then moving on to a super rare variant, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 104 again, but this is the blank white cover variant. I think this is a really expensive comic, but I actually got it fairly cheap, so that's why I bought it. Pretty cool. And then moving on to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 105, as you can see, Kitty Pryde is not happy by the front cover, because that's Mary Jane right there. So yeah, I'm not going to explain what happens, but you can probably tell. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 106 with the entrance of Daredevil into the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. This is called the Ultimate Kingpin Part 1. So obviously, Kingpin is like the arch nemesis of Daredevil in the comics and in the movies and in the TV series. So you can tell that Daredevil is there to finally take down the Kingpin. And then, of course, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 107. And this is Ultimate Knights Part 2. And I think this is actually part of the Defenders saga, where we've got Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, we've got Iron Fist, and of course, like Daredevil again and that. So yeah, it's really special, and it's actually pretty cool. I can't remember who that guy is. I think he's working for the Kingpin, actually. I forget. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 108. Moving on to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 109 with Doctor Strange and like the Defenders and all that crazy stuff going on again. I think that's where actually they lose trust with Spider-Man because something happens. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 110 with Kingpin's massive face in the centre of the page there. It's really cool. And then Ultimate Spider-Man issue 111. This is a special Wizard World variant. You can see it there. So this is a Wizard World variant of Ultimate Spider-Man issue 111. And then we've got like this zombie variant as well, where the issue actually features this guy who can make black holes and like jump through them and use them as portals and stuff. So that's who that guy is, and this is just another variant of Ultimate Spider-Man issue 111. And then here is the original cover for Ultimate Spider-Man issue 111, which features Peter Parker and Spider-Man standing between Aunt May. So yeah, you can tell that there's a little bit of conflict there with Spider-Man's secret identity and Aunt May keeping him like separate from Peter Parker, and they're like, you all get that, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 112, I can't actually remember what this is about, but one of the really sad things is that, you know, Mark Bagley, the artist who has been drawing all of these amazing covers, he actually leaves in this Ultimate Spider-Man issue 111. So after 111 issues, Mark Bagley, the artist, leaves Ultimate Spider-Man, and so the artwork actually changes once we get to these. So you can already tell by the front cover that the artwork has changed there. It's really depressing. But yeah, it's actually okay. It's not too bad, to be honest. We've got Green Goblin returning there as well with issue 113. It's all okay, though, because Brian Michael Bendis, the writer, stays on these comics. So the comics actually do stay fairly good, but the artwork just changes. And of course, the artwork is pretty much what makes the Ultimate Spider-Man comics the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. So as you can see there, that is actually Kitty Pryde again there. So she's gone through like 3 costumes since she's been with Spider-Man. She had the X-Men one, then she had like that bug-looking one, and then of course she had this one. So yeah, I'd say, I can't remember, is this David LaFuente or whatever his name is? This is Brian Immonen, as far as, if I remember his name correctly. Brian Immonen is the artist on this, and then we've got, yeah, like, there's, oh, this is the zombie variant cover, by the way. You can see it there, says there, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 115 variant edition. Oh my god, it is so warm in this room, Jesus. Okay, and then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 116 with the return of Green Goblin once again. And then getting into Ultimate Spider-Man issue 117, we've got Green Goblin and the Hobgoblin fighting each other. That is actually a really crazy issue, especially if you know who Hobgoblin is. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 118, I believe I actually have 2 of these. And as you could see there, we have Iceman there as well. So, oh, and that is not the Human Torch. That is actually a girl version of the Human Torch. I'm not going to tell you who that is because it's actually quite a popular character in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics that you know from the beginning sort of thing. So, yeah, you'll learn about that. And then we've got Magneto on the front of this. This is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 119. And then Ultimate Spider-Man issue 120. Featuring the X-Men. Wolverine looks like he's let himself go a bit since they switched brains, but obviously that's just the artwork changing there. And then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 121. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 122, where he's locked up and he's chained up and he's actually been kidnapped. Then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 123 with Venom returning again and the symbiotes. One thing that's really depressing is that the chapters actually disappeared after Mark Bagley left in issue 111. That's actually Mary Jane stood next to him. It looks nothing like her. So yeah, it was really depressing. Moving on even further, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 124 with the Beetle making an entrance. You'll know him from the Ultimate Spider-Man video game. And then Ultimate Spider-Man issue 125, where he's peeling the symbiote off his costume. That is an awesome cover. And that's actually like the new artist that drew that, so that's pretty cool. I like that cover, that's nice. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 126, where Spider-Man is wearing the black suit and the Ultimates have to come and save him. That's really cool. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 127 with the return of Gwen Stacy once again on the cover there. So I'm not going to tell you, obviously, what that's all about, but you'll have to read them and find out, or at least watch my reviews anyway. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 128, we've got like a Venom sort of symbiote weird looking thing. I can't actually remember what that's all about. And now we get into the Ultimate Spider-Man Ultimatum. And for any of you guys that don't know what the Ultimatum is, this is pretty much an event that was created to end the entire Ultimate Universe. So the Fantastic Four Ultimate Comics, the X-Men Ultimate Comics. After this ultimatum, all of these characters die. Like, seriously, like, Professor X gets killed and all this stuff, Magneto, and obviously Spider-Man's being drowned there in issue 130. And then in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 131, we've got the Grey Hulk there, And it's basically literally the ultimatum was designed to end the entire Ultimate Universe. There's Ultimate Spider-Man issue 132. Mary Jane punching the living daylights out of Kitty Pryde right there. She's been waiting to do that for a while, I imagine. And then the final issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, which was supposed to be Ultimatum issue 133 with Ultimate Spider-Man. There's his mask left there, and that is actually where the Ultimate Spider-Man comics ended for a while, surprisingly. Yeah, Spider-Man was never actually shown to die, but it was like presumed that he did indeed die. And then of course we've got Ultimate Spider-Man Annual Issue 2. That should have been around issue 93, I imagine, if I remember. And then of course we've got Ultimate Spider-Man Annual Issue 3. But yeah, so one of the funny things is, if we continue, this is where the series actually got renamed to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 1. So this is literally a continuation from issue 133. Here's Ultimate Spider-Man issue 133, and technically this is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 134. But what actually happened was that they renamed the comics from Ultimate Spider-Man to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, and then they renamed it to issue 1, and the artist changed again to, if I remember, I think his name was David LaFuente or something along those lines, and he actually drew Spider-Man. I can't remember whether it was if he drew Peter Parker really well, but I didn't actually like the artwork on his Spider-Man drawings. But here's issue 2. I don't actually think I have every single issue of this. Like, yeah, look, I'm missing issue 3, but that's just because I actually decided that I couldn't be bothered getting it. But yeah, one little thing as well, issue 3 actually features Mysterio. So there's Peter Parker. That's what he looks like in the artwork for these comics. It's pretty crazy. That's issue 6. Then we've got, I'm missing issue 7 now. You see, I'm missing issue 3 and I'm missing issue 7. There's Ultimate Spider-Man issue 8. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 9 with Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, on the front of there. Ultimate Spider-Man issue, where the heck is issue 10? I don't have issue 10 either, Jesus. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 11, where J. Jonah Jameson actually beats Peter Parker with a chair. I'm not going to reveal what that is, but honestly, from issue 11, or sorry, issue 10 to issue 11 to issue 12, issue 13 and 14 and 15, these comics are actually really good. That's Mary Jane right there. Peter's trying to kiss Mary Jane. Issue 13, where Spider-Man robs a bank. Issue 14, where Spider-Man is like fighting each other. This actually has something to do with the chameleons, and in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe, one funny thing is that it's not a chameleon character, it's two twins that are actually chameleons, like they actually can shapeshift into people. It's really cool. And then we've got right here Ultimate Spider-Man issue 15. And one of the funny things about this is that this is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 15, and then Brian Michael Bendis suddenly decided that he wants to go back to the original numbering of Spider-Man. So, okay, so let's just rephrase that. After this comic, it's technically, obviously, issue 133 plus 15 issues is technically issues 148. But when we go back to the original numbering, we actually pick it up at issue 150. So yeah, this is like a really thick comic. It's 150, so it's 150 issues. Then I actually miss out 151 because surprisingly it is quite difficult to get hold of. But what was even more difficult to get hold of was Ultimate Spider-Man issue 152 with this black cat cover. So this is the original cover for Ultimate Spider-Man issue 152, but it is extremely difficult to get hold of. Like seriously, I could barely find any of these things online. So yeah, that is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 152 with Black Cat. And then we actually go into the Death of Spider-Man prelude. This is actually the run-up to Spider-Man being murdered. This is the Death of Spider-Man prelude with Ultimate Spider-Man issue 153. I absolutely love these comics. They are amazing. The artwork. So yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 154, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 155, and then we've got Ultimate Spider-Man issue 156. And as you can tell by the front cover, Mark Bagley, who was the original artist on the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, the one who left in issue 111, has returned because obviously it's the Death of Spider-Man. They are literally going to kill Ultimate Spider-Man. So Mark Bagley wanted to return to honour his time on the comic and actually do that. So that comic cover is amazing. It's one of the best comic covers I've ever seen. And then we go into the Death of Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man issue. Where's the issue number? It's here somewhere. Issue 157. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 157. variant cover is this? Yeah, this is the variant cover to Ultimate Spider-Man issue 157. It's the blank cover where Spider-Man is sat at his grave. It's so emotional to see a comic cover like that. It's honestly, after following Ultimate Spider-Man for 157 issues, that really does hit you. So there's Ultimate Spider-Man issue 158, and the way Spider-Man actually dies is by getting shot by the Punisher, and then the Sinister Six come after him. So as you could see there, Kraven the Hunter had returned. And then for the main masterpiece for this Ultimate Spider-Man comic book collection, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 160, signed by Stan Lee. Now, seriously guys, I actually met Stan Lee at Comic-Con in London 2 years ago to get this comic signed by him. It's Ultimate Spider-Man. This is the issue 160 where he actually dies in this comic. Spider-Man literally dies. And I got it signed by Stan Lee, and then I had to pay £5 for this sticker to say that it's like authentic and it actually is Stan Lee in that. So yeah, basically they ripped me off for my money by making me pay £5 for a silly sticker. But yeah, I needed it to, obviously, to make it legit. So, you know, there's the Ultimate Spider-Man issue 160 in a polythene bag. So what actually happened here is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 160, because it was the death of Spider-Man, Stan Lee signed like 50 of these, or like 300 or something like that. And so all of the comics were in these sleeves so that you couldn't see if it was signed. So obviously you didn't know whether it was signed until you opened it. But since I actually got mine signed by myself when I actually met Stan Lee, I also got like this one that's kept in the sleeve. So for all I know, this one could be also signed by Stan Lee, but I'm never going to open it, so I'll never know. And then we've got Ultimate Death of Spider-Man. This is like the Avengers versus the Ultimate. So technically, this is like what the Avengers were doing while Spider-Man was being killed. So yeah, that's obviously wonderfully nice. There's Punisher shooting Spider-Man. It's just, I mean, it's just wonderful. Like, the Avengers definitely just looked after Spider-Man there. So yeah, we've got Death of Spider-Man, the Avengers vs. the Ultimates. This is when they learn that Spider-Man's been killed. Then we've got Ultimate Fallout, Spider-Man No More issue 1. This is the after effects of Spider-Man being killed from Aunt May, Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy's standpoint. And then as we keep going through the issues, I think I've got 2 of these. Yes, I have. There's the second one. Here's the issue 2 for Ultimate Fallout with Thor's reaction there, actually getting really annoyed. We've got issue 3 with like the X-Men's reaction, and I think that may be Kitty Pryde in the middle, I can't remember. And then here it is, this is Ultimate Fallout Spider-Man No More issue 4, and this is the reveal of Miles Morales for the first time. So Miles Morales, in case you don't know, obviously is the black Spider-Man, African-American Spider-Man, and he is the character who becomes the next Ultimate Spider-Man in these Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and this is actually the first ever time you see him. So yeah, I've got that, and then I've got one that's in the Mylar thing, so got 2 of those. There's issue 5. And then here's issue 6, where we see Captain America actually feeling guilty for the death of Spider-Man. I think I've got 2 of these as well. Yes, I have. So yeah, pretty awesome. So anyway, as we continue after this comic, then the new Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man comics come out. And here we go with Ultimate Comics, the all-new Spider-Man Miles Morales issue 1, signed by Sarah Pacelli, who is the artist on this. So yeah, that's issue 1, signed by Sarah Pacelli, the artist. The comic cover is just freaking amazing. And then I've also got a second issue 1, and then a third issue 1, and then I've also got Ultimate Comics, all new Spider-Man Miles Morales issue 2. There's another amazing comic book cover. Then we've got issue 2 again. Then we've got issue 3. I don't believe I actually have every single issue of this series. There's issue 4. Here's issue 4 again. I think there's issue 5. Or maybe I do have every single issue. There's issue 5 again. There's issue 6, where he actually discovers that he can turn invisible. Here's issue 7. That is an amazing comic. Here's issue 7 again. And then I believe here is issue 8, which is where he's actually like fighting someone. And then I have the variant to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 8, where Aunt May and Gwen Stacy discover that Miles Morales is the new Spider-Man, or at least discover that there is a new Spider-Man after Peter's died. And then we've got Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 9 with the Prowler, and obviously the Prowler is Miles Morales' uncle, so that's a really personal story. It's really, really good. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 11, I think, did I miss out issue 10? I did. So Ultimate Spider-Man issue 11, this is actually the comic where I actually discovered and started collecting comics for the very first time. So this is the exact issue that I picked up for my first ever comic before collecting all of these. So yeah, that's a really special comic to me. The shape of his head is so weird on this comic cover though. I don't know what was going on with that. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 12, like what is going on with the art style there as well, it's really weird. And then moving on to the very first Spider-Men comic series. Now, the Spider-Man series actually happened between issue 12 of Miles Morales Comics and issue 13. So, yeah, that is why these Spider-Man comics are here. So this is the variant cover for Spider-Man issue 1. Here's the original cover for Spider-Man issue 1. Then we've got Spider-Man issue 2, Spider-Man issue 3, Spider-Man issue 4. Obviously, that doesn't actually happen, but you know. And then we've got Spider-Man issue 5. And one of the best things about the Spider-Man series, in case any of you guys don't know about it, Spider-Man... Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? The Spider-Man series actually is a story about how Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man from the 616 universe, comes over to the Ultimate Universe and discovers that Peter Parker of the Ultimate Universe has died. So yeah, that's a pretty traumatic experience for the Amazing Spider-Man. But yeah, then we've got Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 13, where Spider-Man actually first gets his web shooters. So Miles Morales finally gets his web shooters in this issue. And so yeah, it literally took 13 issues for Miles Morales to get his web shooters. And for any of you guys that don't know, these issues release monthly. So that's 13 months. That's a year and 1 month for Miles Morales to finally be able to swing. Like, seriously. Here is an Ultimate Spider-Man Comics issue 13 variant. So there is actually only 300 versions of this variant in the world, and I have one of them. So I feel pretty nice about that. That's pretty cool. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 14, where he's swinging with Captain America, obviously because he's just got his web shooters. Issue 15. Issue 16, that's a really nice comic cover. Issue 17. Issue 18. Oh wait, that's issue 18. What the heck is going on? Oh, I do apologise. This is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 16.1. I can't remember why they made a .1, but yeah, that's weird. Issue 16. Issue 7. Wait, what the heck? Sorry. Issue 17. Issue 18. Issue 19, where Miles Morales actually meets Venom for the first time. And then this amazing cover, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 20, where Miles Morales is fighting Venom. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 21 with Venom War. And then we've got Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 22 with Miles still fighting Venom. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 23, Spider-Man No More, with the classic comic cover referring to when Peter Parker gave up his costume as well. This is one of my favourite comics of the Miles Morales series because Miles actually quits being Spider-Man for an entire year. Like, seriously, that's crazy. And then he still doesn't come back in issue 24. And then he finally comes back in issue 25 at the end of the issue. And then here he is learning to web swing again in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 26. Still part of the Spider-Man No More chapter. And then he finally returns properly in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 27. And then Spider-Man No More is now white. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 28. And then it actually goes into the Cataclysm of the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. And this is technically where Galactus nearly destroys the entire Ultimate Universe once again. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, literally Galactus just nearly destroys the Ultimate Universe. It goes on for quite a few issues. There's Spider-Man actually being trapped in Galactus's thing. And what actually happens to that is, if you guys want me to explain it, basically, Galactus goes to the 616 universe, like the Amazing Spider-Man universe, and to get rid of him, the Fantastic Four of the 616 universe send Galactus to the Ultimate Universe. And that is how Galactus ends up in the Ultimate Universe, because the 616 universe move him to the Ultimate Universe. There's Captain America dying in the arms of Miles Morales. It's actually crazy. You guys need to pick up this issue. I actually really do love that comic. And then we've got Survive, which is like what happens after the Cataclysm. And then one of the comics that you guys are freaking gonna love. This is Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, where Peter Parker returns in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. So, you remember how Peter Parker died in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 160? Yeah, he returns in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue 200. And then the variant edition which has the Miles Morales side of it, so that's really cool. And then this is going to be like really confusing for you guys, but after the Cataclysm after the Cataclysm, they restarted the numbering for the Ultimate Spider-Man comics again and renamed it from Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, and they renamed it to Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man and started from issue 1 again. So this is still a continuation from these comics. I mean, it's still the same thing, but they've just renamed it and renamed it with a new number. So Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, Miles Morales, blah blah blah. Sorry, Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man. Then we've got Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man variant issue 1. So this is a variant cover, which is really nice. Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2. Issue 3, I actually remember picking these up as these were releasing, it was really cool. Issue 4 with Spider-Man, Miles Morales fights Green Goblin. Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man, issue 3 with Green Goblin again. Then one of the most popular comic reviews that I ever did on YouTube. This is the official comic where Spider-Man Peter Parker returns in the Ultimate Universe. And it's Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man issue 4. And as you can see by the front cover, Spider-Man is tearing the costume off Miles Morales because obviously Peter Parker has returned now, so Miles no longer needs to be Spider-Man, and so that's freaking amazing. If you haven't seen my review on this, go and watch it. It's on like it's like 270,000 views or something. It's crazy. Miles Morales The Ultimate Spider-Man issue 5, issue 6, issue 7. Wait, is that issue 6 again? I don't know why I picked up the same comic. Issue 7 with, this is Miles Morales' girlfriend. You actually discover that there is something crazy going on with her, so I recommend you check that out. Issue 8 where Miles actually discovers that S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra. Issue 9. Issue 10. Issue 11 with Doctor Doom. Issue 12 where the Ultimate Universe actually ends. Like seriously, the Ultimate Universe blows up. Like it literally, and it's all due to Secret Wars. So basically what happens is the Ultimate Universe and the 616 Universe collide with each other. So the 616 Universe gets destroyed and the Ultimate Universe gets destroyed. And then that is when the all new, all different universe. So you know like the all new, all different Spider-Man comics released and that. So yeah, that's what's happened there. And then obviously after Secret Wars, the new Miles Morales series starts where it's just called Spider-Man issue 1. And yeah, so then we got Spider-Man Miles Morales issue 1 variant. Then we've got that's the variant again. Then we've got issue 2, issue 3. Oh no, that's issue 2 variant. Jesus, I keep forgetting about that. Issue 3, is that the 3 variant? That is issue 3 variant. Issue 3 variant again, that's the Civil War variant. Issue 4, issue 5, hold on. So, issue 5 is there, and then I literally have issue 6 and issue 7 and issue 8 and issue 9 and issue 10 and issue 11 and issue 12 and all that stuff, all in this massive pile. So, yeah, I actually haven't added them to this collection yet, but then, just at the end, we've got like this nice cover that we have of all new X-Men. Then we've got the Ultimates issue 1, and then we've got all new Ultimates issue like 1 again there. So, yeah, that is it for that Ultimate Spider-Man comic book collection, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Going all the way from issue 1 all the way up to issue 160 and the Marvel comics and that. It's really crazy. And so, yes guys, that is it for the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book collection. As you can see, I am literally sweating because it has taken like an hour to go through all of that. It's taken so long, and all I've been doing is just swiping through them all, so I don't know why I'm like sweating this much. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that Ultimate Spider-Man comic book collection. I absolutely love these. I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of them, so please do not ask. But yeah, I swear to God, when I hand these down through my family, if they get rid of these, I will come back from the dead and I will haunt these guys, because seriously, this is like my pride and joy in this comic book collection here. I absolutely love them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it too, guys. Hit the like button if you liked my Ultimate Spider-Man comic book collection. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.